I've been right not to cry. The station is swarming with reporters, and their insect-like cameras trained directly on my face. But I've had a lot of practice at wiping my face clean of emotion, and I do this now. I, I catch a glimpse of myself on the television screen on the wall that's airing my arrival live and feel gratified that I appear almost bored. Peter Malark, on the other hand, has obviously been crying and interestingly enough does not seem to be trying to cover it up. I immediately wonder if this will be his strategy in the games, to appear weak and frightened, to reassure the other tributes that he is no competition at all, and then come out fighting. This worked very well for a girl, Joanna Mason, from District 7 a few years back. She seemed like such a sniveling, cowardly fool that no one bothered about her until there were only a handful of contestants left. It turned out she could kill viciously, pretty clever, the way she played it. But it seems an odd strategy for Peter Muller because he's a baker's son. All those years of having enough to eat and holding bread trays around have made him broad-shouldered and strong. It will take an awful lot of whipping to convince anyone to overlook him. We have to stand for a few minutes in the doorway of the train while the cameras gobble up our images. Then we are allowed inside and the doors close mercifully behind us. The train begins to move at once. The speed initially takes my breath away. Of course, I've never been on a train, as travel between the district is forbidden except for officially sanctioned duties. For us, that's mainly transporting coal, but this is no ordinary coal train. It's one of the high-speed capital models that average 250 miles per hour. Our journey to the capital will take less than a day. In school, they tell us the capital was built in a place once called the Rockies. District 12 was in a region known as Appalachia. Even hundreds of years ago, they mined coal here, which is why our miners have to dig so deep. Somehow, it all comes back to coal at school. Besides basic reading and math, most of our instruction is coal related, except for the weekly lecture on the history of Panama. It mostly a lot of blather about what we owe the capital. I know there must be more than they are telling us, an actual account of what happened during the rebellion, but I don't spend much time thinking about it. Whatever the truth is, I don't see how it will help me get food on the table. The tribute train is fancier than even the room in the Justice Building, where we are each given our own chambers that have a bedroom, a dressing area, and a private bathroom with hot and cold running water. We don't have hot water at home unless we boil it. There are drawers filled with fine clothes, and every trinket tells me to do anything I want. Wear anything I want, everything is at my disposal. Just be ready for supper in an hour. I peel off my mother's blue dress and take a hot shower. I've never had the shower before. It's like being in a summer rain, only warmer. In a dress, in a dark green shirt and pants. At the last minute, I remember Mage's little gold pin. For the first time, I get a good look at it. It's as if someone fashion small golden bird and then attach a ring to it. The bird is connected to the ring only by its wingtips. I suddenly recognize it, a mockingjay. They are funny birds and something of a slap in the face of the capital. During the rebellion, the capital bred a series of genetically altered animals as weapons. The common term for them was mutation, or sometimes moot for short. One was a special bird called a jabberjay that had the ability to memorize and repeat a whole human conversation. They were hummingbirds, exclusively male, that were released into regions where the capital's enemies were known to be hiding. After the birds gather words that fly back to the centers to be recorded, it took people a while to realize what was going on in the district, how private conversation were being transmitted. Then, of course, the rebels fed the capital endless lies, and the joke was on it. So the centers were shut down and the birds were abandoned to die off in the wild. Only they didn't die off. Instead, the jabberjays mated with female mockingbirds, creating a whole new species that could replicate both bird whistles and human melodies. They had lost the ability to enunciate words but could still mimic the range of human vocal sounds, from a child's high-pitched warble to a man's deep tones. And they could create songs, not just a few notes, but whole songs with multiple verses. If you had the patience to sing them and if they like your voice. My father was particularly fond of mockingjays. When we went hunting, he would whistle or sing complicated songs to them, and after a polite pause, they'd always sing back. Not everyone is treated with such respect, but whenever my father sang, all the birds in the area would fall silent and listen. His voice was that beautiful, high and clear, and so filled with life, it made you want to laugh and cry at the same time. I could never bring myself to continue the practice after he was gone. Still, there's something comforting about the little bird. It's like having a piece of my father with me, protecting me. I fastened the pin onto my shirt, and with the dark green fabric as a background, I can almost imagine the mockingjay flying through the trees. Effie Trinket comes to collect me for supper. I follow her through the narrow, rocking corridor into a dining room with polished paneled walls. There is a table where all the dishes are highly breakable. Peter Muller sits waiting with us, the chair next to him empty. Where is Hamish? Asked Effie Trinket brightly. Last time I saw him, he said he was going to take a nap. Well, it's been an exhausting day, said Effie Trinket. I think she is relieved by Hamish's absence, and who can blame her? The supper comes in courses: a thick carrot soup, green salad, lamb chops and mashed potatoes, cheese and fruit, a chocolate cake. Throughout the meal, everything it keeps reminding us to save space because there's more to come. But I'm stuffing myself because I've never had food like this. So good and so much. And because probably the best thing I can do between now and the games is put on a few pounds. At least you two have decent manners, says Effie Trinket, as we're finishing the main course. The pair last year ate everything with their hands like a couple of savages. It completely upset my digestion. The pair last year were two kids from the sim who'd never, not one day of their lives, had enough to eat. And when they did have food, table manners were surely the last thing on their minds. Peter is a baker's son. My mother taught Prim and I to eat properly, so yes, I can handle a fork and knife. But I had every trinket's comment so much I make a point of eating the rest of my meal with my fingers. Then I wipe my hands on the tablecloth. This makes her purse her lips tightly together. Now that the meal's over, I'm fighting to keep the food down. I can see Pita is looking a little green too. Neither of our stomach is used to such a rich fare. But if I can hold down greasy say concoction of mice, pig entrails, and tree bark, a winter especially, I'm determined to hang on this. We go to another compartment to watch the recap of the rippings across Panem, then try to stagger them throughout the day so a person could conceivably watch the whole thing live. But only people in the capital could really do that since none of them have to attend ripping themselves. One by one, we see the other rippings, the names called, the volunteers stepping forward, or more often not, we examine the faces of the kids who will be our competition. A few stand out in my mind. A monstrous boy who longs forward to volunteer from District 2, a fox-faced girl with slick red hair from District 5, a boy with a crippled foot from District 10, and most hauntingly, a 12-year-old girl from District 11. She has dark brown skin and eyes, but older than that, she is very like Prim in size and demeanor. Only when to she mounts the stage and they ask for volunteers, all you can hear is the wind whistling through the decrepit buildings around her. There is no one willing to take her place. Last of all, they show District 12 Prim being called. Let me running forward to volunteer. You can't miss the desperation in my voice as I shove Prim behind me, as I'm afraid no one will hear and they'll take Prim away. But of course they do hear. I see Gal pulling her off and watch myself mount the stage. The commentators are not sure what to say about the cowards, about the crowd's refusal to applaud. The silent salute. One says that District 12 has always been a bit backward, but but that always but that local costumes can be charming. As if on cue, Hamish falls off the stage and they groan comically. Peter's name is drawn, and he quietly takes his place. We shake hands. They cut to the anthem again, and the program ends. Effie Trinket is disgruntled about the state her week was in. Your mentor has a lot to learn about presentation, a lot about televised behavior. Peter unexpectedly laughs. He was wrong, says Peter. He's wrong every year. Every day, I add. I can't help smirking a little. Effie Trinket makes it sound like Hamish just has somewhat just has somewhat rough manners that could be corrected with a few tips from her. Yes, hisses Effie Trinket. How odd you two find it amusing. You know your mentor is your lifeline to the world in these games. The the one who advises you, lines up your sponsors, and dictates the presentation of any gift. Hamish can well be the difference between your life and your death. Just then, Hamish staggers into the compartment. I, I miss supper, he says in a slurred voice. Then he vomits all over the expensive carpet and falls into the mess. So love anyway, says Effie Trinket. She hops in her pointy shoes around the pool of vomit and flees to the room.